From the heart of Georgetown, Guyana, comes a story of unparalleled resilience and determination. Carlotta Cora and Eversley Gabrielle's journey from a nursing assistant to a dedicated nurse with a master's degree is nothing short of extraordinary. Her unwavering faith and perseverance have guided her through personal traumas and adversities, including the heart-wrenching loss of a child. In I Rise, Carlotta shares her profound life story, bringing authenticity and a deep sense of compassion to every page. Through her unique experiences, she illuminates themes of faith, struggle, perseverance, and the profound impact of grace in her life. Carlotta's narrative is not just about surviving hardships, but thriving through them, turning pain into purpose. As a nurse, Carlotta has dedicated her life to caring for others, embodying compassion and empathy in her work. She has been a beacon of hope and a source of strength for many, leading by example and inspiring those around her. Her story reflects her commitment to positive change, demonstrating how one person's journey can uplift and empower others. I Rise is more than a memoir. It is a heartfelt journey that touches hearts, inspires minds, and uplifts spirits. Carlotta's legacy is one of hope and inspiration, reminding us that within every struggle lies the potential for transformation and strength. Her words encourage readers to find their inner resilience and to believe in the power of grace and perseverance. Discover the transformative power within every struggle, and let Carlotta Gabrielle's story remind you that strength and grace lie within us all. Through her story, Carlotta seeks to motivate, empower, and encourage, proving that no matter the challenges we face, we have the ability to rise above them and create a legacy of hope and inspiration.
Welcome to The Conversation, where words have power to unite us all. Are you passionate about literature? Do you find solace and inspiration within the pages of a book? Then we invite you to join our global community of readers in our Conversation Book Club. Whether you're in Guyana or anywhere else in the world, our book club offers a space of meaningful dialogue, discovery, and connection. Together, we explore the depths of storytelling, share insight, and celebrate the beauty of diverse perspectives. Led by Pastor Seon Rodney and Pastor J.D. Prasad, our book club fosters an environment of respect, empathy, and understanding. They invite you to join them on this enriching journey. To become a part of our vibrant community, simply reach out to Pastor Seon Rodney at 678-770-0430 or Pastor J.D. Prasad at 592-662-9844. Let's embark on a shared adventure through the world of literature, because in the Conversation Book Club, every voice matters.
This program is being sponsored by Conversational Merchandise Cravings. Visit us at conversationalmerchandisecravings.com. Purchase your cups, mugs, hats, hoodies, and much more. conversationalmerchandisecravings.com.
Good night, each and everyone. Welcome to the Conversation Motivational Hour with yours truly, Pastor Seon Gregory Gomes Rodney. Along with me is no other than the amazing, the beautiful, talented Peggy, and she is in the finance department. She's in the finance stewardship. She's the finance geek. She's the kind finance train. She's the finance, soon to be the financial mogul, and she is getting it lit, man. She's getting it dope, man. She's about to evolve into different sphere of the financial literacy. With that being said, Miss Peggy is one going to help you to leave tonight with some great nuggets taken away that you can change your life. As I always say, move from your zero living to your third tier living, which is the Zoe life. You may ask what that is. That's the God life, the God living. Because God doesn't intend for one to exist. He called us to live. He called us to thrive. And in the abundance and the overflow, God designed. So with that being said, no other that I had tonight is God's choice vessel, the woman for the hour. My co-host is Miss Peggy. Smart Money Move. So Miss Peggy, before we get into the minutia of tonight, can you tell us what is your platform is about, the name of your platform, and all pertains to this evolving, this catapulting of money matters. Tell us all about where we can find you. Tell us about your platform. Tell us about your sphere of influence and everything that goes. I see Money Matters Move.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for that great introduction, Pastor Seon. So, Smart Money Moves is actually something that my daughter and we are co-CEOs of a financial literacy platform that's mostly on Instagram. So you can follow us at smart.moneymoves with 2 S's. To get some financial literacy on the Instagram platform. And we also launched this quarter. My daughter has a new LLC for financial literacy for youth. And so that's a separate website I can put up. I can post on your link or something later if people are interested in learning about that. That's Smart Money Moves for Kids. And so we're just basically about providing value and talking to people about finance. And one of the most important things, I am a licensed financial advisor. And I know that there's a lot of people out there on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and they're giving a lot of financial advice, but they are not licensed. So you want to make sure if you're getting financial advice, you're getting it from someone who is licensed to give that advice, because I don't know, I'm in the United States. So over here in the United States, you need a license to be doing certain things. And so that's one of my other things I just want to say. Be careful of where you are getting your information, because there is a whole lot of information out there and not everyone has a vested interest in your success.
So, Miss Peggy, tonight you can put some of the stuff that you do, all your links and so on. As you send me a Prime America link and every other link, you can just drop it in the chat. So people can, every sphere of your influence, every sphere of your authority, every sphere that you touch and you hold. Because there's one thing I believe in this emerging, we're not in competition, at least for me, myself, and I believe in complementing. And I believe my dividend, which you're going to deal about dividends, that will come along in financial investment. And when you make money in your sleep, Smart Money Moves is people who make money while you're sleeping. We're going to deal with streams of income like a tributary confluence go from a river, because we people always focuses on the river, but they get tributaries. Those are small mouths that comes from a river. Then you get the confluences in the mainstream and so on. So we're going to know how you can able to evolve in the money streams of life and so on. But with that being said, I never believe in competition. I believe in complementing. And people have missed the fact that they see sometimes the helper as the competitor, and sometimes your helper is not your competitor, because people misdiagnose people and misappropriate skill set. And this is one of the things I'm doing in a little studies where how the church is not prepared to handle some of the ministry that not being documented, some of the ministry not being in the 66 book, and they're mishandling those ministry that is being gifted through revelation ministry that have been birthed, through that the inspiration of the Holy Ghost, to make sure the skill set is not relevant to what was there before. So therefore we know about the fivefold ministry, and sometimes they're birthed outside of the fivefold ministry. For example, there's one we call intercessory. There is no ministry in the Bible recognition in fivefold ministry as an intercessory ministry, but intercessor is a ministry in revelation for the now. So you have some learned people that are debating that it's not a ministry, but the church is not prepared to handle what is the now of the revelation, what wasn't before. And that's why God said in the last days that knowledge will increase and so forth. So we want to make sure that we keep people appraised and apprised with understanding that money really matters, that money smart money moves. And people can able to make better decision, and the decision can calculate where they can be more free to sleep. They're more free to enjoy their own tone of their voice, laugh in their own tone, walk in their own steps, and enjoy the true self. Many people have walked in the falsity of themselves for many weeks, many months, many years because they made bad money management, bad money decision. And we will get into the minutia tonight. But you never say where we could meet you, your Facebook name, your Instagram, if you want TikTok, if you want IG, if you want X. Let us know all of the all. And you may have 5-4 numbers. Let us know that we can really make those decisions and use you as our mentor, that we can flip the script from financial embarrassment to financial empowerment.
All right. So on Facebook, you can find me as Peggy Dickinson Benaby. I am going to, it looks like this chat just goes directly to you. I'm putting it in the chat though. So Facebook, I can be found under Peggy Dickinson Benaby. On LinkedIn, I'm just Peggy Benaby. I'm also on LinkedIn. So you can find me there. And on my website, I put, it's therealhowmoneyworks.com/US/Benaby, like my last name, Beneby. And there, if you go to that site, you can actually put in your email address and you can get a complimentary copy of a booklet, How Money Works, that talks about some financial principles. So that is a free gift to all your listeners there. Look me up on The Real How Money Works with an S.com/US/Benaby, like my last name. And you can get a complimentary How Money Works booklet. And leave me your information. I can put you on my mailing list and invite you to other webinars that I do. I do some collaboration webinars with one lady. Her name is Kathy. She's been in the auto industry. You came to a couple of our sessions, Pastor Seon. She's been in the auto industry for over 20 years, and she gives some smart tips about car buying and credit and things like that. And I talk about investing and savings. And I do some other investment webinars. I talk about where people can listen about how they can save for their children and the different types of accounts for children. And I also do church workshops and seminars where I intertwine faith and finance. And I talk about scripture and how it relates to financial principles. And that's actually going to be my next book that I'm working on. So I did publish a collaboration book, Elevate and Empower, where I have a short chapter in there where I talk about a little experience about myself and my daughter and how it affected my finances. But then I'm going to put forth my next book, and it's going to be all about scripture principles and how financially that can bless your life. So those are the things that I'm working on. If you want to get a hold of me, again, my email address, you could always email me too, is teambenaby@gmail.com. So that's another way that you can contact me. And so I put all of those in the chat for you, Pastor Seon. If you can share that on your with your network, on your stream, because I don't know how to do that from here.
I don't know how to do that, but after the stream is ended, you can go in with that privilege under the comments and recommend that.
Okay.
After the stream.
Oh, well, let me see here. Maybe it says I can let's see if I can do this.
But while you're doing that, I love the word that you said, principle. And principle is very much a spin-off of wisdom, because wisdom is a principle thing, and success comes from principle. Principle doesn't change. Principle is different from a law. Laws change. Laws can be ratified by votes and by presence and by numbers, because laws have to come to be ratified and so on and that. But principle is nothing can change the principle of a thing, and we can get into that in some part of the podcast tonight. where many people are negating the Old Testament, the New Testament, and they're trying to negate even the shaming of money because people try to find other voice, not their real voice, for the position which they find themselves in, because it's easier to deflection works to blame everybody else than own the responsibility for where you are. And tonight, Miss Peggy, going to be the one to help you at the end, that you will take the onus of yourself and own that responsibility, that because you can able to change, that you want a different trajectory. You want to make sure that your outcome, we were talking about financial legacy and so on, but I believe in financially, you make sure you leave a financial principle, ones that work. I was saying to somebody today, if you're doing something for many years you're doing it and it's not yielding success, you need to go back to the drawing board. You need to revisit the principle, because the principle may be right, but therefore it's not applying right. You see, everybody can serve you a plate of food, but the server may not have the right attitude. The server may not have the right demeanor. The server may not have a good body chemistry, good eye contact, good gesture. Probably the hygiene is not right. So your principle may be right, but you have to revisit to see how you are serving the principle. With that being said, Miss Peggy, once again, thank you on your platform. And thank you to your amazing daughter who's working hands in glove with you. I notice you guys have a great synergy and energy, and I know that you're a great mentor to her. And I can see not too long distant future, she will flip the script and she'll become a mentor to many. Oh yes, having many mentees under her. So here we goes tonight. Once again, welcome to the Conversation platform. Oh yes, the Walmart of social media, the Conversational Motivational Hour, the Conversation Motivational Date Night, the Conversation Motivational Zero to Hero TV family, the Conversation Small Business Community, the Conversation Merchandise Craving, and the Conversation Together We Rise Ministry, which is located in the country of Guyana. That's a church. Yes, it's named a Conversation Together We Rise Ministry. And I said it's a Walmart of social media, one stop. You have everything, and where we bring different the Lord, the affluent, the intellectuals that can able to change our mindset. So tonight we will be challenged, we'll be changed, we'll be transformed by the presence of Miss Peggy Bernabe. Miss Peggy, as a personal and professional background, what inspired you to become a financial advisor?
That's a great question. I did not know I was going to be a financial advisor. From the time I was young, I wanted to be a teacher. I was always interested in education. And when I got a little older, I started being interested in finance. But I did not know financial advising was going to be for me. However, I made a lot of mistakes in my youth. That is where it comes from. It comes from the fact that my financial education, came from home. It was just basically money doesn't grow on trees and save for a rainy day. Didn't know how, couldn't balance a checkbook, all of these things. And so when I became an adult and started working and trying to work my way up, that corporate ladder and getting into my career, I started having a lot of financial problems and making a lot of financial mistakes. And I realized that, financial peace is so important. And just like, we seek to have health, we need health, we need spiritual health and guidance, but we also need financial health and guidance. And so really what made me get into this line of work was because I wanted to help people not make the same mistakes that I made. And I want to help share the information that I was able to learn and how to turn my life around and how to turn my finances around and how to grow, from having bad credit to having good credit, and from filing bankruptcy to now having no debt, and from having to start all over after a divorce and after sicknesses and different things like that, and having to rebuild myself and all of the different things that I learned. And I just want to help other people not to have to make those same mistakes. And even if they did, not to feel ashamed and know that there is hope for you, right? If you didn't do everything right, if you made a lot of mistakes, if you were bankrupt or this or that, if your credit's terrible, there is opportunity to turn it around. You just got to get some help. And also just left my mind, but something else I wanted to say, with regards to that. So, you can be financially secure. You can have financial peace. It's not too late. I think that's what I want to say. If you started late, I started late. I like to tell people, start investing in your 20s, even children, start investing for them when they're young. But if you started late, like me, if you started in your 30s or your 40s, right? The important thing is you start.
And I love that, because there is a path for every one of us. There is a path for every one of us. And when you know the path, it is dictated by your pace. There is a path that all of us are trotting through, which we call journey. But is your pace on that path? Like, there's the road out there. Some of us may drive at 20 miles per hour. You will have a ticket because you're driving too slow. Some of us may drive 80 miles per hour. You will have a ticket because you're driving too fast. But you're getting to your destination either, but you either get there too slow, you get there too fast. So some people make bad decisions, so they get there very slow. And they get there because the decision, they get there through shaming. They get there through feeling that, they have no worth anymore. They have no chance of flipping the coin on the other side, from impossibilities become possibilities. And they can turn their life around, you know what I mean? From mourning to rejoicing, from renting to owning, because the path is there, but it's at their pace. And therefore, for you, you have recollect where you are, having a slow pace on that path. Divorce, as you said, sicknesses and so on, bad money management. You were splurging to keep up with the Joneses and all of that. Those had you on a slow path. But then you correct your ways and then redirect yourself on the same path. You hit your foot on the gas pedal, and now you are on your journey where now you are a mentor. So with that being said, with the path that you have chosen and the pace you picked up on that path, that you will arrive there not late, but you will arrive there now early, because I recognize there's still youth on your side. Oh yes, you still look full, you youthful, you still have energy, you still have your cognitive intent. So therefore you have many more to have and a lot to give, so that many can learn and pick the fruits from your experiences when you try on that lane that you're driving. What a slow pace on that path. With that being said, how can you share a defining moment of your financial journey? That journey on that path, how you find your way in picking up the pace. My mother used to say, don't drag your feet. It's making, sound on the ground, and you look like you're hopeless and so on. Because I used to walk as a young man and drag my feet. There's a song, and every step you look at my boots, you cannot balance because one side is, people walk like that, and the slippers, we call it flip-flop. I'm from Guyana, so I'm from the country, so I have both vernacular, right? But we call it slippers in my country. In America, which I do live, we call it flip-flops. But when a person that walking doesn't lift their feet, it garnered what we call a hole. You see in the bottom, and your feet inherit the minerals of the earth. We didn't meant for that. So therefore, let us know how you pick up the pace on your financial journey.
So, yes, as I said, I made a lot of financial mistakes, but the defining moment where I said, this is it, I planted my flag, so to speak, and I said, I have to make a change. And I was willing to do some sacrificing to make that change. And it was pretty much after I had my daughter. She just turned 25, so 25 years ago or so, right? But it was the realization, right, that someone's life was depending on me. Right. So I didn't have time anymore to figure it out, make mistakes and all. It was one thing when I was the one that was eating ramen noodles and having my bed on the ground or whatever. That was one thing. But when I decided I had my daughter now to think about, I wanted her to go to the best school. I wanted to have her to have the best experiences. I wanted to make sure that I was going to leave her a legacy, that I would be an example to her. And so that was the defining moment that basically said, hey, pay attention, right? This living paycheck to paycheck, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and all of these things cannot continue to go on, right? If I'm going to provide a stable environment for my daughter. I wanted to buy a home. I wanted her to have her own room, things like that. And so that was the defining moment that I really started to say, okay, I have to make some sacrifices. And a few sacrifices that I made, you mentioned keeping up with the Joneses, right? A few sacrifices that I made was not having to, do that, right? So I made sacrifices for her to go to private school. That meant that I couldn't have the newest car or the fashion bag or the this or the that, because I was investing in her future. So those were some of the sacrifices. I made some sacrifices with time in investing in myself to get these licenses to become a financial advisor and starting my own business, because that was something else that I knew I needed to do to advance myself financially. And so I sacrificed time, and I wasn't, doing certain things that my friends may have been doing, partying, etc., because I was investing time and money into my future and into her future. And even still now, we do things like vacation, but I'm very choosy about where I invest my money and where I invest my time.
Awesome, awesome. And that's very, very, very important, because you are who you are by the decision you made. And like I tell people, especially those who are getting into marital sphere of life, and you have to make that choose whether a young man, a young woman, and I shouldn't put young or old, when you choose a partner, because I don't want to song and disparity. So happened to me, I'm a grown and sexy, can I choose a partner? What I'm saying. So I want to be inclusive in whatever we're saying tonight. But when you are choosing someone to be into that sphere of marriage, you have to also choose that person decision processes. And we doesn't recognize that. We feel like, okay, when I choose this person, I have the tendency to bring change. But not recognize when someone sometimes does not change because you fostered what your non-negotiables, you discuss your low-hanging fruit. But what happened is that people modifies their behavior. So therefore it's very hard when you inculcate a title as per se into someone that you failed to address before. So now you're trying to bring your low-hanging fruits to be addressed. You're non-negotiable when the time was there before. Therefore it brings a lot of snags into marital issues, which is very much more one for greater divorces, financial mismanagement. So tonight, I'm glad that you are leaving the trail and raising one of the things with your one woman. You're preparing her into walking in one day to be the wife for a husband. And one of the things that she can have the financial, which I said, common sense is an expensive flower, do not grow in everybody's garden. But her common sense would be so sharp, it would be 10,000 those that many gardens would like to have one of her tree inserted, because we have the wisdom in financial management, in financial discipline, in financial decision. With that being said, our third point for discussion tonight: what one financial lesson you wish more knew earlier?
So I'm glad you mentioned marriage, right? And I was once married, and you said that, a lot. I heard a joke said the number one cause of divorce is marriage, right? You're not going to get divorced unless you're married. But I guess then the number two cause of divorce is financial problems, right? Not being on the same page financially. That will totally throw a marriage off course. So the question, what do I wish people knew earlier about finances, is there is a difference between saving and investing. And I didn't know that, because, many people will say, well, I'm saving up for a house, or I'm saving for a car, I'm saving for my wedding, I'm saving for this, I'm saving for that. But it is really, it's really important to know where you're saving your money. Most people maybe save their money in a jug, right? They come in, they put their change in the jug, and they're saving up money that way. They might save a few $100s, even a few $1,000s, depending on how big your jug is, right? You can save money that way. It's very heavy. I don't know what you do with it after it gets filled up. You need a crowbar to get it out your house. But some people saving their money at the bank, maybe they have like a little savings club or whatever. They might get a little interest, 1%, maybe 2%. If you're in a CD or something like that, you might be saving there, saving money. But then there's investing money. And when you invest your money, and this is what I wished I had known when I was much younger and which I wish people would learn more about, is that if you're going to be saving money for a very large, like a house, or for your future, for your retirement, for a long period of time, right? You want to be getting interest, not just interest on that money, but capital gains, appreciation, right? You want to put that money in the market, and the Bible talks about the market, believe it or not. There's the scripture of the man with the talents, and they went and they took their money to the money changers. That's the market, right? Where they got their money back 5-fold, 10-fold, right? That's investing. And so there's saving, which is great, save for a rainy day. That's what my mom told me, but I didn't know that I could be investing, and I could be investing for my future. So something that I want people to know is there is a difference between saving and investing, and that you need 3 buckets, maybe 4 buckets of where you're going to be putting your money, right? One bucket is your spending account, where you have money, where you're going to be, for your bills. Then you want a short-term savings account, an emergency account, where you have about 3 months to 6 months worth of your income saved in there in case of emergency. You get sick, unexpected medical bill, something breaks down, car breaks down, you need to get that fixed. You don't want to have to go use credit for that. You have some money saved up. Then you have the middle of the range account. That's for short term, not very short term, but middle of the range. You're saving for a house, you're saving for your wedding, you're saving for something big. Might take you 3 to 5 years to save up, right? That's your middle range. Or even saving for your children's college, 10 years or so, right? And then you have your long-term account. That's your retirement account. And that's the other thing. When I was younger, I wasn't thinking about retirement. In my 20s, they were saying, oh, you should put, they told me that I should let them take 3% out of my check for the retirement system. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be here. I don't want that, right? I give me my little 3%. See, I made some bad decisions, right? Yeah. But that's for your long term, right? So you need to save today. I don't care how old you are, 21, 31, 41. You should be saving today for your retirement and your future, because now your money has the most chance to grow, because you're saving for 30 years from now, 40 years from now. So that's going to be the best time, right, is to start putting in each of those buckets. And everybody's different. How much you put in each bucket is going to depend on you specifically. But you want to be putting in each bucket. And a lot of times parents, and I did a lot of sacrificing, I told you, for my daughter, but you don't want to sacrifice your long-term, your retirement bucket. Some people take that money out and they use it to go start a business, or to buy their house, or to send their kids to college. Guess what? There's business loans, there's mortgages, and there's college loans. There's no retirement loan. So the worst thing you want to do is wake up at 65 or 69 or whatever age you're ready to retire and not have a significant amount of money saved. So always be putting money in that long-term bucket.
So it's important, and I love what you said. It's important it's not how long you live, but it's how effective you live. And I don't want to be a 65 going at somebody to employ me to be a security guard, because it's a trending phenomena that most time the easiest job when you recognize time has gone, time is well spent, and you haven't made much of the time when your youthful was on your side, the easiest job is to do a security guard work. And I love what you said. So you have to maximize and make smart money moves While you have time, you have energy, you have everything, as the Bible says, serve the Creator in the days of thy youth. Because God even talking how much He interests in the youthful part of you. So in making the youthful choice for God, make the youthful choice of the thing that keep you youthful. So let us hear from you about debt to income ratio. Let's hear about that tonight. Debt to income ratio, and then you're going to move to income and expenditure.
Okay. So when it comes to debt to income ratio, very important when you're looking to buy a house. You definitely want to keep your debt to income ratio. Debt should be below 30% of your income, right? So the lower, the better. And I have a financial tool that I use that actually gives you a debt to income ratio. It gives you financial independence number, lets you know exactly how much you have to save up for your retirement. Gives you your debt freedom date, tells you based on your debts, credit card, loans, etc., how to pay it off, so you know exactly when you'll be out of debt. Most of the time, we're just winging these things. We just know the money comes in and the money goes out. Money comes in, money goes out. So when it comes to debt to income ratio, that's what affects your credit score as well. If you have too much debt, if you have a credit card, you don't want to be more than, 20% or so of the amount of money that your credit card maxes. You want to keep that below 20%. That's going to keep your credit score up high. If you go 50% or more on that credit card, max it out, your credit score is going down like that. So for those of you, you're looking to save for a house, credit is very important. Debt to income ratio is very important to qualify for a home. So you want to make sure. Debt is one of the biggest mistakes, right? The banks will tell you it's healthy to have debt. Get this credit card, get this mortgage, right? Debt is good, right? But not if you can't pay it, right? And also it's good for them because what? Because they're charging you interest on that debt. And that keeps you in debt longer because in most cases, all loans, especially credit cards and car loans, mortgages, the banks are taking their interest up front. Mm-hmm. You have to be paying into those mortgages for at least 5 to 10 years before you really start paying on the principal. The majority of that is interest. Same thing with the car. When you drive the car off the lot, it's worth so much less. Why? Because that's the interest that you just have to pay off the top. So the banks, remember, the banks, credit card companies, they're getting theirs first, right? So we don't really own those things. We are the borrower, right? And what did the Bible say, right? We should be the lender, not the borrower. But when it comes to those things, so long story short, use debt sparingly and wisely, right? Don't get into debt for things that you can pay. If you can pay cash, pay it, or at least pay off the credit card. Pay the statement balance every time so that you're paying very little interest. Make sure you can bargain and get the lowest interest rates that you can get and keep your credit score healthy so that you qualify for lower interest rates.
So, Miss Peggy, we're going to pay some bills in the studio, and then we're going to come back on the back end after this video that pays the bills, and we're going to continue to chop it up. Financial matters, money matters, financial literacy is the order of the day. Smart money moves.
From the heart of Georgetown, Guyana, comes a story of unparalleled resilience and determination. Carlotta Cora and Eversley Gabrielle's journey from a nursing assistant to a dedicated nurse with a master's degree is nothing short of extraordinary. Her unwavering faith and perseverance have guided her through personal traumas and adversities, including the heart-wrenching loss of a child. In I Rise, Carlotta shares her profound life story, bringing authenticity and a deep sense of compassion to every page. Through her unique experiences, she illuminates themes of faith, struggle, perseverance, and the profound impact of grace in her life. Carlotta's narrative is not just about surviving hardships, but thriving through them, turning pain into purpose. As a nurse, Carlotta has dedicated her life to caring for others, embodying compassion and empathy in her work. She has been a beacon of hope and a source of strength for many, leading by example and inspiring those around her. Her story reflects her commitment to positive change, demonstrating how one person's journey can uplift and empower others. I Rise is more than a memoir. It is a heartfelt journey that touches hearts, inspires minds, and uplifts spirits. Carlotta's legacy is one of hope and inspiration, reminding us that within every struggle lies the potential for transformation and strength. Her words encourage readers to find their inner resilience and to believe in the power of grace and perseverance. Discover the transformative power within every struggle, and let Carlotta Gabrielle's story remind you that strength and grace lie within us all. Through her story, Carlotta seeks to motivate, empower, and encourage, proving that no matter the challenges we face, we have the ability to rise above them and create a legacy of hope and inspiration.
Welcome back, Miss Peggy. Let us know how important it is to put our children on our payroll. How important to put our kids on a payroll that benefits family financially.
So that is something that I learned, being self-employed and getting involved in my own business, that, people, I want to say the quote unquote rich people, but, wealthy people, they do this all the time. When I was growing up, I used to hear things like people getting paid allowance. I guess I watch TV show, they get allowance. And I don't know, in a Caribbean family, we weren't getting allowance, right? It was like, what you want to get paid to do your chores? Are you crazy? But let me tell you the smart thing to do, right? To teach your children about money, yes, pay them, put them on the payroll. If you have a business, all right, if you don't, you can get an LLC. It's not very hard. If you have a business, you want to put your kids on the payroll, have them helping you out. And then now if they're on the payroll now, that's tax deductible to you, right? Because now they're an expense, right? So that allowance, if they're putting away the dishes or what have you, that's helping out to the house. So your business is your house is your business, right? Helping you out. So now I'm not a tax advisor, so I'm not giving you tax advice. Everything I'm saying, please make sure you check it with your accountant. I'm not an accountant. I'm a financial advisor, but that should be a tax deduction. Now, the kid is earning income. They can have a Roth IRA. What is a Roth IRA? That's money that goes in after taxes. And after 5 years, when they reach retirement age, all of the growth on that money is tax-free. And it's a retirement account. So even if the child is going to college, they can still qualify for loans and things like that because that's retirement money. They don't look at that, right? And that IRA is getting them a head start in life, right? Putting that money away versus, spending it on things that when they grow out of it, they're going to grow out of those clothes. They're going to forget about those toys. The phone's going to become obsolete, right? The computer's going to break. All those things going to happen. But that money can be there growing and growing and growing so that when they're an adult, they have a jump start. So it's important to do it for a few reasons. Like I said, it teaches them responsibility. They get to learn about money. They get to learn about investing. And it can give them a head start in life, and it could be a tax benefit for yourself and for the child.
Deacon Showing Lebasti had said, do not pay minimum on your credit card, pay more.
So I did see that comment as well. And I was trying to comment back and my comments wasn't coming through. So absolutely. And let me give you a further tip. What most people do, let's say you have 5 credit cards, right? And each one of them, the minimum is $50, right? So most people say, okay, I got to pay $250, but I have an extra $100. Let me put an extra $10 or $20 on each one of these cards. And that's the wrong way to pay more. You have that extra $100, put the whole $100 on one of those cards. Pay that one card down and pay it off. And then whatever money you used to pay to that card, add it to the next card so that you're paying off your debts. That is the way to get out of debt, right? So yes, don't pay the minimum. That you'll be in debt forever with the minimum. But if you're going to pay more and you only have a little bit more, pay more to one card so you can pay off one card. And if you can pay the statement balance, I recommend pay the statement balance every month. You don't want to be paying a lot of interest. These credit card interest rates these days, there was a time when 19% was high. Now I'm seeing 25, 39, 49%. That is outrageous amount of interest. You want to know about interest? Look up the rule of 72. That tells you how long it takes your money to double. If you're paying 20% on your credit card, divide that by 72, and you're going to see how long it takes for that credit card company to double that money. That's how much time, if you hold on to that debt that long, you doubled the amount of whatever the cost was. So, you could wind up paying $10,000 for a $1,000 purchase if you hold on to that debt long enough. It's not a good money decision.
And Deacon Shawn Abasti says correct. He said 25%. And I always said, Miss Peggy, you shouldn't be walking around with 4 or 5 credit cards. Because what happens soon, you will have to go into debt consolidation. Because if you were not financially viable, I like the analogy of the $100, you have to split it in 5. So you're basically just paying the minimum to survive. And just as you pay that minimum, you get back into the cookie jar. So for every long, you will be in debt. So why not have 2 credit cards, that is strong. And therefore, you can able to go longer, and therefore you don't have to go into debt consolidation. Because you're not putting yourself further away, but you're putting yourself, because everything is a paper trail, everything becomes a record, and everything follow you most oftentimes the paper trail the rest of your life. They see that you're a bad money manager, that's why you have to go through debt consolidation. It's just a few steps away from filing bankruptcy. Actually, hypothetically, is an arm of bankruptcy. While you have a lot of credit card and you go into debt consolidation, you are telling the people that I can afford to upkeep these 5 credit cards, put them into one, where you could have 1 or 2 from the inception, and from Jump Street, you could pay a credit card and still have into the savings. So with that being said, Miss Peggy, what about how does putting kids, what are the key things people should know about 522 plans for college saving?
Okay, 529 plan. But I just want to add one thing about the comment you made, Pastor Seon, because some people, if they come from like my past, like I said, where my credit was not good initially. So there was a time when I had only 1 or 2 cards, and guess what? My credit score was low. I actually needed to open up more lines of credit for my credit score to get high. So that is one thing, that if you're concerned about your credit score, sometimes you do need to have more lines of credit open. Now, just because you have lines of credit open don't mean that you run it up, right? And you get into debt and you can't pay it off. You still got to be wise with that. The other thing is some credit cards give you, if your credit's not good, you may have very low balances initially, only maybe 250 or 500 or something like that. And if you need more than that, you might have to split it over a couple different cards, right? But make sure you pay it off right away, because that's the trap, right? If you want to put something on credit and you use up 2 cards and now, you have it maxed out, you got to pay that off before it hits the system to say you're maxed out. So it's still, you got to manage yourself well. So sometimes you might need the 5 cards, but you don't want to run them up. But going back to your question about college savings plans. So 529 plans, most of them are state specific. So certain states have their own. New York State has our own, I believe it's through JP Morgan. So you want to look into your state specific 529 plan. And they have money managers that will invest that money for you. And some states also, you want to look and see what the maximum is. I believe there's a maximum per year that you can get tax deferred on, like a tax break on, for putting away for the college. The one key thing I will tell people about the 529 plans is if you can have a grandparent or an auntie or uncle or someone open it up for your child, because they do look at the parent and the child's income, right? They do look at that for student loan. If you want, not student loan, but for aid, financial aid. That's the word I'm looking for. They do look at that for financial aid. So if you're concerned about qualifying for financial aid, then you may not want to open it up yourself for your child, but you can have a grandparent. They don't look at their income, or an auntie or uncle, and have, because anyone could open up a 529 plan for your child, right? So you can do that, and the child can have money saving and growing for them. But it is a great, great resource for you to have tax deferred growth, to save for your child for college. And nowadays, they've even made the plans better in that some of these plans you could even use. It doesn't have to be for like a university college. It could be for like a trade school, or even if the child doesn't go to college, you could put it back in your name as the parent. And you could use it for like, if you're retired and you want to take art class or dance class or something like that, you can use it for that. And you can even convert a percentage of it to a Roth. So this is money, again, that, you get tax break on, and it is now more versatile, that you can use it.
We see Push Past 10 Media says, what about index fund instead of 529 plans per college?
So yes, I see that there. Index funds are great. The benefit of the 529 plan, like I said, is it's professionally managed, and you have that tax deferred growth. An index fund, depending on what the index fund is in. So funds, that's getting a little more technical now. You can have index funds, you can have mutual funds, you can have stocks, bonds. But what are these instruments actually in? Is it in a Roth IRA? Is it in an IRA? Is it in a taxable account? So depending on what type of account it's in, any savings vehicle, you can take that money and pay for your kids' college. But certain things that you put it in, you just got to be careful. If it's a 529 plan, understand that the college is going to be looking at that, and they're going to be counting it towards financial aid. They're going to be looking at it as, monies that could affect the financial aid, if that's something you're looking for. But you can use index fund, you could use mutual fund, you could use stocks, you could use whatever type of vehicle you want. The 529 plan, the IRA, those are simply the tax, the tax language that lets the IRS know whether you're taxed now or later, or how it will eventually be taxed.
And also I see Deacon Shaw in the Basti says, Clark Howard said, if you have more than one credit card with a high balance, start paying the low balance credit and pay it off. Then he says, can you let people know more about transfer your 401k into a IRA? Thank you.
Yes. So as far as the credit card, that's a great example. You can start with the lowest balance, pay it off first, or you can actually do the one that has the highest interest rate. Pay that off first, right? So it kind of depends on everyone's situation, can be very unique. But as long as you have a strategy, right? And that's why you want to have work with a financial professional. And everyone, I believe, especially if you're in business or you're a pastor, you have a certain position, right, where you're handling finances in a more extravagant way. You want to have a financial team. You want to make sure that you have an accountant, a professional that understands the tax laws, right, and gives you the maximum amount that you can claim and do things with. Then you want to have a financial advisor, someone that understands investing in the different types of accounts we're talking about. And you want to have, so you want a financial team. Not everyone is an expert in every area. So that's one thing to be said. As far as 401ks and IRAs, so 401ks, 403bs, again, these are all tax codes, right, that tells the IRS how to tax you, when to tax you. Those are employer plans, right? So if you have a job and your employer has a plan where they put aside money, or you put in deferred money into those accounts, right? But that's their plan. So those plans are kind of limited, but they're there for you. And if they match, you definitely want to take advantage of that, right? But an IRA is an individual retirement account. And you can have both. You can have a 401k and an IRA. But for most people, they say most people change their job maybe every 5 to 7 years, right? The millennials and zillennials, whatever, they're going to probably have 7 jobs in their career, right? I remember one year I had 7 jobs in 1 year, but you might have 7 jobs in a career, right? So each time you leave a job, you might have a little retirement plan there, and people forget about it, right? Or they let the company send that to you, and then you get taxed on it, right? 20%. What you can do is, they call it a rollover, right? You can have that 401k rolled over, right, into an IRA, where you now have more control over it. Because if you're not with the company where the 401k is, you're not a participant anymore. So what you want to do is, if you're going to leave an employer, or if your employer tells you hit the road, right, don't leave your money there, right? If you're not there, don't leave your money there, right? Move it either to your next employer or into an IRA, an individual retirement account, where you can have more control over it. So those are things that you want to be able to do. And I see some more questions coming up here.
Yes, one of the questions is that why is it how type of people is afraid to invest? Basically, why people are afraid to invest? Because I believe when you bank, you have cents interest. When you invest, you have dollar interest. So I will put investment over saving, a kind of saving, I should say. So I think you want to help us to come out of the fear of investment. So help us to navigate that fear, so fear can be fired and faith can be employed in the form of investment tonight.
Well, we already know what the word says about fear, right? God didn't give us a spirit of fear. But we know that people fear what they don't know and what they don't understand. And that is a challenge for me as a financial advisor, especially dealing with certain groups of people, because they don't understand the market. They don't understand what these words mean and how they work. And so you do have to kind of make it plain so people can relate to something. So one of the things that I relate, the S&P 500, the market, which is where all the banks and the big companies and our employers, by the way, put our money to grow, right? So if you have a 401k or a 403b or a deferred comp, guess what? Your money's in the market anyway, but you just don't know it. You don't understand it, right? But that's where they're putting our money already, right? But now, how do we learn how to do it for ourselves and get the lion's share of the interest? If you think about the market, when you're buying into the market, whether it's a mutual fund, a stock, or a bond, you're buying equities anyway, stocks and mutual funds. You're buying shares, right, of those companies. If it's bonds, it's like a loan, but you're getting shares of the companies. And when the companies make money, we make money, right? And those are companies, in most case, companies that we use all the time. Apple, Google, whatever, right? And so we want to be partaking in the profits of those companies by investing in those companies. And so when the market goes down, just think about it as on sale. Like I have an iPhone, and if they said to me, well, I can get this iPhone for $500 instead of $1,000. I'm going to want to get it for $500 instead of $1,000 because it's on sale. So when the market goes down and they're saying, well, Apple is now $500 instead of $1,000 to invest, that's on sale, right? So you want to put your money in, right, when things are on sale, and then you want to sell, of course, when things are higher, right? So that's, not to think about, you have an item, and it's just depending on when you're going to sell is depending on how much you're going to get for the item. It doesn't change the item. You can think about it as real estate. If you purchase a house, right, and you purchase the house for $100,000, and in 3 years the house is worth $300,000, it appreciated in value, right? But then if the market turns and then it goes back down to 150, it doesn't mean you lost any house. You still have the same house. It just means people aren't willing to pay for it as much as before. And that's how the market works. And that's why you shouldn't be fearful of the market, because as long as the banks and the employers and the big corporations are willing to invest their money and put their money there, right, we should be able to also do the same thing and have trust, right, that the money managers know what they're doing and that we're going to see the same type of growth that these companies are getting because our money is there anyway. So don't fear what you don't know. Learn about it. Get some financial coaching. You want a financial coach. That was the third piece, right? You want a financial coach. If we want to lose weight, they may go to the gym and they may get a fitness coach, right? Or you get a health coach, you get a life coach, a career coach. We have all of these coaches nowadays, but how many of you have a financial coach, right? That's all I do is I am the financial coach. I'm here to help guide you to make good financial decisions, right? Don't pull your money out when the market is down. Right? Put some more money in, hold it, right? Wait for the market to go up, pay off your debt, invest wisely, all of these things. So that's why people are afraid. People are afraid to put money in the market because they think that they're going to lose money. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could very well lose money, because what do people do? They put the money in, and then as soon as it goes down, they get scared, and then they sell low, and then they don't get what they put in because they got afraid. So that is the one risk, right? That we can't. That's why we tell you that you could lose. We can't promise you a gain, because the one risk that we don't really manage is people's fear to take their money out when they're not supposed to. And we can't manage that risk. But we can tell you that if you don't have fear and you're disciplined and you keep your money there and you work with a coach to go towards your objectives, so you know when you're going to be taking your money out, and you can manage that risk better, and you can be more conservative when it gets closer to the time when you're going to take the money out, and you can be more aggressive when you know you're not going to take the money out for a while, 5 years or more. So those are all the things that you want to work with your financial coach.
So, Miss Peggy, I tell people that money have a voice. Money have feelings. Money also have emotion. So tell us tonight, for those who probably, they already put the left foot in front of the right. They already start their baby steps. So it's no longer 100 miles. Because the great saying says 100 miles start with one solitary step. I want you, before we make our closure tonight, to help someone who have taken that baby step, how they can able to start building their portfolio.
So the first thing you want to do is have a financial plan, right? Get in touch with a financial coach or financial advisor and put together a financial plan. Take stock of where you are financially. Take stock of your debt, of your budget, right? Get that financial independence number, right? Do you know your financial independence number? What do you need to have saved up so that you can retire and stay retired, right? Find someone who can be able to give you that information. That's one of the things that I do. Know your debt freedom date, right? We talked about paying off your credit cards, how to do that, right? So you want to do that. And I saw a question there about the bank, but I want to talk about your employer. So a lot of people that I talk to, they'll say, well, I have that through my employer, right? We all know that we can get life insurance through our employer. By the way, having the wrong type of life insurance is a big mistake that people make too. But we can get life insurance sometimes through our employer. We can have a retirement through our employer. We can have even maybe a discount on our auto insurance or different things like that. So there's lots of benefits that some employers have, and that's great to take advantage of those things. But remember that your employer plans are your employer's plans. They're not your personal plans. And HR department is there for the employer, not for you, right? I used to think the HR person was for me, to look out for me, but they really looking out for the employer, right? They really work for the employer. So you want to make sure that you have someone working for you, that your money's working for you. And so these are the baby steps that you need to now just start to pay attention, start to say, okay, I'm going to learn about these things, whether you're reading your own books. Remember, be careful who you get your information on from internet and things like that. But seek out a financial advisor, seek out a financial coach, look for someone who's licensed, and take those baby steps and start where you stand. You might need to save $500 a month. By the way, I think it's $583 a month or something like that would max out your IRA, right? Because you can put away up to $7,000 for the year if you're under 50. So, you want to max it out. But if you can't put away $583 today, well, how much can you put away? Can you put away $200? That's about $6 or $7 a day. Most people are spending that on Starbucks every day. So cut out Starbucks, start saving for your financial future. Can you save $100 a month, right? So wherever you stand, and then try to gradually work. Because once you get started, it's just like the gym, right? Once you get started and you create that habit and you say, oh, this isn't so bad, right? And you'll get used to it, and then you won't even miss the money. The most important thing is to start. That's the hardest part, to get started. So start where you stand. Don't wait and say, okay, well, when I can save 500, that's when I'll start. No. What can you do today? Let's start there. All right. Start with what you can do today and then work your way up. So that's the most important piece. And then there was a question there about saving money in the bank. What do I think about saving money in the bank? A lot of people feel like the money in the bank is safer than in the market. We know the banks, they can put FDIC, on the front of the bank, right? FDIC just means that if the bank ever goes belly up, right, the government is going to have certain state limits that they're going to pay, but it's a limit. It's not even all your money. So if all your money is in the bank, you're not going to get it all. You're only going to get up to the state specified limit, right? And that's even across all banks. So most people feel like their money is safer in the bank because they feel like, well, it's insured. Remember, the banks insure, they're looking to be insured for themselves, not so much for us, right? So we know that they're going to make sure they get made whole. The government is going to bail them out. A lot of times the government doesn't bail us out. We only get up to state limits. All right. So now investment companies, they have something similar. They can't advertise it, but there is something similar. And that does do up to certain limits as well if an investment company goes belly up, right? But again, with stocks and bonds, there's no guarantees because a business can go out of business, right? And if you're invested in an individual stock, it's very likely that you could lose your money. So that's where you go with financial coach, financial advisor, people who know about money management. So you minimize that risk of making those mistakes, trying to figure it out on your own, trying to guess, trying to do what your neighbor says, trying to do what the person on TikTok said, right? And then when you find out you're late to the party and your money's not there, right? Because you didn't have a financial coach or a financial advisor or a money manager that was really looking out for your best interests, right? You want to make sure that someone's looking out for your best interest. So the only thing about the bank is that we know banks give historically low rate of return. So if you want to put your money in the bank, of course, I have money in the bank. You need to have money in the bank to pay your bills. But I'm not going to save for retirement in the bank because I'm going to get a historically low rate of return if I'm saving in the bank. I want to be saving with an investment company. I want to be utilizing things like mutual funds or ETFs or stocks and things like that, where I know I'm going to get a higher rate of return. And I want to make sure that I'm doing it wisely with a money manager or a financial planner that understands how these things work and can help mitigate those mistakes that people make.
I see one of the question here. Some people cannot afford to retire, and that's very serious.
It's more than some people. It's about 60% of America. That's more than half. That cannot afford to retire.
Also, that says that much, I can't remember the figure now, doesn't have $500 in an account. But tonight, we are privileged that we can be able to grow some financial muscles tonight. That you can be able to make the right decision. And tonight is the opportune time. It's never too late once you are in the land of the living, but also in the time of possibility. It's never too late. It can be $50 you never had, you're well on your way. I will go far as $1 that you never had, you're well on your way, and you start thriving from tonight. God has called you to evolve. God has called you to matriculate. God has called you to live the best version you can be. Your mother make you, but God's designed you. And the one who designed you with no cap to be wealthy. But the choice is yours tonight. He said, eat of the fat of the land. He said, occupy until I come. Blessed to give than to receive. Are we in the position to bless? Are we in the position to give? Are we in the position to evolve? Also to show our financial strength and financial muscle. Financial literacy and financial legacy begins with us. The Bible said, money answereth all things. In all caps, all things. Nothing short, nothing lacking. Jesus had to pay his corporate tax, not having money in his wallet, in his purse, at home. He couldn't call anybody at that time, probably his ancestors or wherever, his tribe. He couldn't depend upon them. And because being the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, he cannot go through shaming. He provided a miracle. Sent his disciples down by the ocean side because there is a fish coming with the money to pay his corporate tax. Tonight, Miss Peggy, what about redirecting the people eating the fruit and also eating the seed, that there is never will be an harvest? In closing, I want to understand the importance of eating the fruit, but saving a seed. There is always something to put in the ground.
Amen. So one of the things that what I'm thinking about is, a lot of times, and I was wondering about the church too. A lot of times we go really out of our way to give, and it's good to give, right? Better to give than to receive. But we also have to teach people, right? And that's why I do what I do. We have to teach people how to do these things for themselves, because what they say, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. It's the same thing with the financial principles. We can give money, we can raise money and donate to this and that. But if we show people these principles where they wouldn't need to turn around and have their hand out all the time, right? Because then they can stand on their own 2 feet. And I remember when I was newly saved and I was working on my financial self, right? And being a bleeding heart that I am. And, sometimes in the church, this was new to me, but everybody was always, sister, can you loan me $5? Can you loan me $5? For this and for that? And you think, well, $5 is not a lot of money, but if you do it 10 times, that's $50, right? And then it can add up. And I said to my pastor, and I said, I want to help people, but I don't see any good coming of me just giving them $5, right? And then I don't see that money back, and I don't even see, not to say you want to see a return on your money that you want to get $5 back or $10 back, but you want to see a return on that investment in that the person is now better for it, right? Is now on their own 2 feet. What did they learn from getting that $5? See, I much rather have them go through one of my webinars and learn about how to save that money so that when they need $5, they can go and get it from themselves and not have to borrow it from the church or the sister in the church or what have you. So that's that seed, right? That's planting the seed to teach people the financial principles so that they can help themselves and they can learn not to make certain money mistakes of getting into debt and spending money they don't have and all of these things. And to leave the other scripture that always dear to my heart, right? We're supposed to leave an inheritance for our children's children. And you can't do that if you're paycheck to paycheck. You can't do that if you only have $500 saved for retirement. And again, not to shame anybody. I already told you, I did everything wrong. But there has to be that defining moment where you make up your mind that this is it. I'm going to put an initiative effort to make my life different financially. It's going to take some sacrifice, right? I'm going to say no to the Starbucks or to the fancy car or to whatever it is. And I'm going to save that money up because I know it's going to be better, worth more for my future than it is right now to enjoy it right now. So there's a lot there. Hopefully that answers your question though.
Also, I love when you talk about that giver's syndrome, because some people were taught that the more they give is more they accept notoriety, more they accept bring them to a self-fulfillment, aggrandizement. which it's at the end of it, they come more bitter than better, because the coffers is not overflowing, the coffers is depleting. And because of that, you have to give and give wisely. So in everything, there is a cap and a principle. You develop your principle giving strategy. Am I going to give for a year $1,000 in my giving than be an exorbitant giver and you cannot sustain at the end of whatever you're doing? So when that cap is met, though $500 I'm going to give 20 to my nonprofit organization. I give $400 apart from my tithes and my offering to those who come for handouts of the church. $500 I'm going to give every week. Somebody come in 20. But then you give a cap to your giving so you can become a great steward of your money. Because you don't want to give. There's a syndrome and a trauma attached to givers. Another time you're going to do givers and taker syndrome. Both it's a syndrome and it comes with a trauma. One person said to me many years ago, the time I started going to church, I moved broke than before I go to church. And I understand that there's a money trauma attached to that person. Now I could have be go somewhere, so long I don't really have a love of coffee, but I could have go and have me a nice cook-up rice somewhere to eat. I could take 5 minutes of my time to walk that person in their own giving syndrome. Nobody to be blamed but you, because you didn't understand financial literacy. You don't understand the giver syndrome. Now you put yourself into a giving trauma. Let me look at Jesus' principle in giving. There one time he gave to the multitude and said, except women and child. He called it the multitude. But the second account, which I talked to a guy today, I went to what you call like a flea market of washers and dryers and home and sale. It was incredible, something to see. It's like over 1,000 washers and dryers all over the place. I never saw it before. It's like it was something to see, right? A washer, dryer, I think a few fridge, but it was like a flea market just set aside for that. But what happened? You look, Jesus come in the principle now when he talk about feeding the 4,000. So I was talking to the owner, and he said, never recognized that there's another feeding. I said, Google it right now in my presence. Then he recognized what shop. He said, I'm giving you 2 more for free. He gave me 2 for free because he just get a knowledge. I am saving him something more down the road because he feel it is exorbitant and this free will and so on. And so he said, man, I only thought only one time Jesus feed. I said, no, go to the Bible, Google it in my presence. Don't wait for me to leave. Because if I leave, you will just put it on the back burner. And you may never have another educational moment. So tonight we want you to understand, we want to relieve you from your trauma. We want you to be well on your financial literacy. That when you leave, you can leave an inheritance, more so for the male. A good father leave an inheritance for his children. It's incumbent upon us to have that financial freedom, that financial literacy, that you can leave something. I will close on this note, Miss Peggy. I used to tell people because I was born in the city of Guyana called Georgetown. My real family heritage comes from a place named New Amsterdam, which is a very small town in Guyana also. But I grew most of my life in the country, and I grew like in a foster care home. So in my village, I was actually close to what I would say a little poor, but now I'm saying less fortunate because of reconstruct education. But I recognize my mom is getting a little more older in age. And we come to the consensus that she wants to give me some of the things that she has. Looking at what she has, I was not poor. But she just didn't know how to transfer land to wealth. How to transfer a house or 2 to sell to wealth for edifying me. So we have to know, because we are the more privileged place, that we can able to let our children understand that they have to go through what we go through, having wealth, but sitting on it. So Ms. Peggy, tonight I want to thank you that many people have their diamond, but they are standing on it. Many years ago, I preached this sermon. The diamond you're looking for, you're standing on it. Tonight, your diamond just come to you in the person for you to be financial free No longer working in financial shaming. No longer have your money going around like in basket with holes. Neither being paycheck to paycheck. We want you to come out of that financial trauma. We want you to smile authentically again. Find the voice of money again. My brother-in-law said, when you're not talking, your money is speaking. Give your money its voice. With that being said, Ms. Peggy, on behalf of the Conversation platform, once again, we want to thank you for now your family. You're no longer making a first rodeo, no longer a second appearance. Right now you are family. We will thrive together. We will evolve together. We will matriculate together. And I see Deacon Shawn is advocating that we need to have another class. So with that being said, we're advocating for the people to be edified for another class in the first or second week of March. And I would love you to bring along your company who deal with car sales so the three of us can chop it up, toes down. Education is always the greatest way out. One man says, if education is expensive, try ignorance. We can no longer want you to walk in ignorance, but walk in education. Having vision is great. The blind woman, Miss Keller, says she wrote out of 12 books. I was studying it this week. Miss Keller said the dangerous things in life is not being blind. She's blind, but she has 12 books. Is one that have sight, but have no vision. The difference is sight see the corner, but vision see around the corner. Sight see the mountain, but vision see beyond the mountain. What vision do you have for your life tonight? Ms. Peggy, we want to say to the people in our closing tonight.
So true. That was a wonderful message there. Thank you for having me. I will definitely talk to Kathy to we can collaborate about doing something again with her expertise in the car industry and talking about credit and financing cars. I've been trying to put in the message my information, but it keeps coming up as an error. So I will repeat. If you would like to contact me, my email is teambenaby, TEAM, B as in boy, ENE, B as in boy, Y, @gmail.com. That's my email. You can find me on Instagram at smart.money moves with 2 S's at the end. And you can also go to my website and you can request a free book, How Money Works book, that has a lot of financial principles in there. It talks about investing, what a mutual fund is, the rule of 72, the right type of insurance and things like that. If you follow Dave Ramsey, we get a lot of the principles that we use. Dave Ramsey was with our company for some time. So, very much along those lines. So you can get yourself a free How Money Works book if you go to The Real How Money Works therealhowmoneyworks.com/US/Benaby. Again, my last name, B as in boy, ENEBY. I've been trying to put it in the chat. It won't go through, but if you can write that down, please look me up. You can also look for me on Amazon, the book Elevate and Empower. And you can check me out there. I was thinking I had to show my book. I thought it was here. But, you can look me up on the Amazon author. And I just enjoyed my time. Thank you so much for listening, for all the wonderful questions you had. And I look forward to chopping it up again on the Conversations.
And I want to thank you because I had a good read of your book. I started reading it from the middle though. I went, and there's a reason why. I went to the table of content, and it attracts me to go, I think, page 69, 68. And there is where I start reading, because that is the first topic that captured my attention. So it's a good read. I enjoy it. I read it from the middle, but it's a good read, and I want to thank you for furnishing me with that book. With that being said, so Miss Peggy, you're going to reach out to your co, and we're going to look for the second Saturday in the month of March. So once again, thank you everyone for the greatest pleasantry you're going to do for us tonight, and that is to share this podcast near and far afield. Share it with your wife, your husband, your frenemies, your enemies, your competitors. Share it with each and every one, your honey, your boo, your darling, and also your sweetheart. Had a great and competitive evening. Compete with no one else than competing with yourself to be the best version of who God has called you to be. Don't forget, tomorrow night is our Conversation Motivational Date Night, with no other than yours truly, SGGR Seon Rodney, alongside Apostle J.D. Prasad. Our topic tomorrow night is God creation, defined by God, not by man. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you as we play this script tonight and make our way out of here.
From the heart of Georgetown, Guyana, comes a story of unparalleled resilience and determination. Carlotta Cora and Eversley Gabrielle's journey from a nursing assistant to a dedicated nurse with a master's degree is nothing short of extraordinary. Her unwavering faith and perseverance have guided her through personal traumas and adversities, including the heart-wrenching loss of a child. In I Rise, Carlotta shares her profound life story, bringing authenticity and a deep sense of compassion to every page. Through her unique experiences, she illuminates themes of faith, struggle, perseverance, and the profound impact of grace in her life. Carlotta's narrative is not just about surviving hardships, but thriving through them, turning pain into purpose. As a nurse, Carlotta has dedicated her life to caring for others, embodying compassion and empathy in her work. She has been a beacon of hope and a source of strength for many, leading by example and inspiring those around her. Her story reflects her commitment to positive change, demonstrating how one person's journey can uplift and empower others. I Rise is more than a memoir. It is a heartfelt journey that touches hearts, inspires minds, and uplifts spirits. Carlotta's legacy is one of hope and inspiration, reminding us that within every struggle lies the potential for transformation and strength. Her words encourage readers to find their inner resilience and to believe in the power of grace and perseverance. Discover the transformative power within every struggle, and let Carlotta Gabrielle's story remind you that strength and grace lie within us all. Through her story, Carlotta seeks to motivate, empower, and encourage, proving that no matter the challenges we face, we have the ability to rise above them and create a legacy of hope and inspiration.